anyone who contributes in World of Warcraft lore should be absolutely just fired on the spot at this point, honestly.
Dragonflight's endings cutscene is everything wrong with World of Warcraft's writing.
They tried to do the...
True, so true.
Haven't seen it.
I agree with everything they're
But probably true.
I agree with everything. It's so true.
Family bit of Fast and Furious. But the thing with Fast and Furious is, like, Vin Diesel is apparently so badass he actually turns into an earthbender. Like, there's a bit where he stamps the floor and, like, concrete breaks. And you're like, alright, sure. So I think the thing...
That's good.
You know,
Fast and the Furious, I bet in 20 years, Fast and the Furious will be indistinguishable from Transformers. You know, they'll be like one of the movies where, like, Vin Diesel actually turns into the car, and the people are like, okay.
That's a very, very low bar to set for Fast and Furious at this point. Bro, they already did cars in space and rockets and... Yo, they're gonna... At this point, nothing but trans-dimensional car hopping is gonna satisfy anyone at this point. It's gonna be cars used as world-ramming projectiles and then dimension hopping into the next to save from Thanos. Okay? Cars that transform in Vin Diesel that transforms into a car. Vin Diesel already transforms into a car. What do you mean? That's a low bar, okay? The Fast and the Furious in 20 years is gonna be something. Our imaginations can't handle it just right now to even contemplate what it's gonna look like.
Sure. And that's...
But he's still gonna say family at least a lot.
Gonna be the point.
Works for Fast and Furious because it has a commitment to being over the top and just doing
Does
the
it,
rule
though?
of cool. I think that's essentially where they kind of fucked up with Dragonflight. They forgot the bit where they actually had to be exciting as a, you know, as an interactive story.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main problem. But certainly, like, it
Was Dragonflight an interactive story even?
is a concern to me for sure that we could get a Blizzard that pulls all their punches. Because the thing that gets me is those moments with those characters. To me, they feel really empty and hollow because they're so unbalanced. Like, I know in, like, UK and Ireland, we are way more sarcastic than the Americans tend to be. We are way more gallows humor. You know, we often offend them a lot, which is very funny.
Man, he just offended a lot of people from the UK, implying that Ireland is the same as the UK. Wow. You see? See? This is why bad things happen to the Irish.
Good, keep doing it. I love it whenever Americans get offended over normal people in Europe being normal.
No one in Europe considers Brits anything but a cuck race at this point, especially, honestly. Knife crime, 300 trillion billion% up. What's the solution? Metal detectors in schools. Let's go, baby. Man, no one in Europe cares about the Britain, okay? It's a complete meme at this point. And Sweden and Germany, obviously, you know. Well, and whatever stupid country Macron is the leader of. But, you know, yeah, that's pretty basic European stuff.
I think it's great. Especially, like, South Americans, too. Always super offensive, it doesn't matter. Yeah, keep doing it.
But I think that bleeds through into some of our preferences in storytelling. A little bit, right?
He's right. Being autistic is a thing you're born with. True.
Certain degree, yeah. I think by
I kind of
default-
worry that they go. My worry basically is they go way too like soft modern. Because most of the soft modern stuff.
That's a really good way to say it, man.
Soft
modern. If there's any way I could describe World of Warcraft's current story, soft modern would be it.
That
Yeah,
I've seen.
actually,
It just
true.
ends up being really toothless, and I think most importantly, it's like a weird personal therapy escapism. It
Thank
doesn't really
you.
feel-
Yes. Holy fuck. Yes. Personal therapy escapism. Oh, weird personal therapy escapism. Exactly.
feel like it's honest and true to the human experience, and to me that makes it quite weak and ineffective.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that
Exactly, it's boring.
Yeah.
it works
It is boring.
in side stories and small stories.
You know what I have noticed about the World of Warcraft lore every time someone brings it up? Nothing bad actually ever happens. Okay? So, there's this situation like, you know, some big baddie goes to a village and then he sets it on fire. Well, you as the champion, first thing you have to do is save everyone in the village and put out the flames, okay? That hasn't actually happened anything bad in World of Warcraft for the past 20 years at this point, almost. It's all just nothing. No one dies. No, there's no consequences. The big bad evil guy does something. Well, shit, Sylvanas, you better go to the mine and get those souls back. Yeah, there's... Anything bad that is ever done in this game at this point is just retroactively removed from being done at some point in 5 minutes, probably, from the point that this has been done. It's stupid.
I think when you have a very small thing and you get to like carefully craft like here's the experience of how someone deals with like their brother's injured, or I can't remember the context for that one. The Centaur quest where it's the shard of lightning thing makes him strong and mental. That bit, like, that felt really good. It was kind of short and sweet and had...
Anyone remember Varian Rin dying? I do. What did he die for? I don't know. Nothing. He just died. That was it. Vol'jin dying? Yeah, same thing. What did they die for? Nothing! There was no reason for it. They just died. And probably are gonna get resurrected at some point. I don't even know, honestly, at this point. But yeah, even when there are some consequences and something happens, they just happen because the writers are on a whim, like snorting coke and saying, you know what, man, something should probably change. How about Varian getting killed? Well, he does. And he dies in the most unglamorous way possible. Like, no one cares. His death was meaningless. Same with Vol'jin, by the way. Again, like, even when something does happen that has consequences in the game, it's so poorly done. You better forget about it ever happening again, because what happened didn't matter. Well, what happened did matter, but the way it happened made it not matter.
He's right that, like, the touching, more personal human stories make sense as, like, kind of side stories or, you know, off the beaten path explorations, rather than being the mainstay of the story itself. I agree. Yeah, it's actually a really good point.
One small part to it. Same with the Taiwan one. That was fine. But you can't really take the same principle and apply that to the larger story. You kind of need a little bit more and a lot kind of stronger element to it. You need something a little bit more traditionally epic or traditionally mythic.
Yeah.
As Metzen put it.
That's exactly it. Like, so they totally agree with me. I feel like they do. That's exactly the way that I feel too.
You want something that's more, like you say, true to the
basic good storytelling,
general human experience.
Wow.
As opposed to telling a small personal story. And obviously, you could say, well, obviously, like, you know, family and belonging and stuff like that is key to it.
Cringe.
Wasn't really. That felt a little bit like an afternote.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is the point, but we kind of knew it.
What are we gonna get into? How disappointed Varian Rin is that his son is a literal pansy that probably tried to get down with a dragon. Yeah, probably. I don't want to explore these storylines for some reason. I really, for some reason, don't want to explore these storylines. Does Thrall have a family? Yes. You know what should happen with his wife and kid? They should be squished under a rock for better storytelling.
We need something a lot more, I guess, traditionally.
I think
heroes
Thrall
don't
has
age,
a kid, right?
Not that you just have to repeat that
am I
same thing over and over
mistaken?
again.
Well, the reason why traditional heroes work is because they're traditional.
No, that's not actually true. Traditional heroes work because they're just good heroes. Traditional is just a, you know, side aspect of just being good.
Have you ever thought that maybe the thing that people did for 2,000 years was good? You ever thought maybe people kept doing it because it was good? Like, I don't know. I mean, what do I know, right?
but you still need to hit all the moves. It's a good, strong story, which is difficult when you're trying to pull your punches, or you're just trying to tell a very specific small bit of what's going on, or something that's too generic, which is another problem. And that's what the Dragonflight thing feels to me, where it is just, or like the way that cinematic panned out was largely, and we were wrong, but together we are right. And like, cool.
Woo! There's this is what I'm going to call a counter super from Sorry, I just noticed your profile picture. That is actually, it wishes from Mistelferno. It wishes it was My Little Pony, Demon's Revenge, at least G4. I haven't seen G5 yet, so I don't know the difference.
Wait, they're comparing WoW to My Little Pony? I'm gonna be honest here, okay? The Bellabog story in Honkai Star Rail totally clears Dragonflight, and it's not even close. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
Said.
Between a G4 and a G5.
Yeah.
But at least...
But if he's saying that other stories are better than what we currently have in World of Warcraft, yeah, 100%. Me shitting in a toilet is a better storytelling mechanic than most things in World of Warcraft currently.
It's the thing with MLP. From what I understand, it does actually have quality in it.
I couldn't tell you, thankfully. I assume there's something, otherwise people wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah, there's got to be a way in which it does end up going hard. Because so many people love it. I feel like the friendship is magic is almost certainly earned. And I think the reason why it comes off as being a bit cringy and inauthentic in Dragonflight is that it feels profoundly unearned. It was just the thing of like, I was watching that cinematic, and I was just thinking of watching it.
Oh, this is what we were talking about previously. The moment we saw the first cinematic, it was already clear that, that one is just misunderstood. Let's ignore the fact that she, like, is also a baddie, kills people and does all the bad things and helps the main bad guy. But she's just gonna be misunderstood, okay, at the very end. You know that to be true. And it was. The stupid icicle dragon was misunderstood, and the evil red three-end dragon was not misunderstood and just evil. And why were they evil? I don't know, for the sake of being evil, I guess. Character motivations have not made sense a single time in the last at least 10 years of World of Warcraft. So this is kind of a tough subject.
Avatar, right? And like, Avatar is so fucking good. Literally a children's television show.
Yeah.
And it's like, awesome. Come on, Blizzard. You're actually so scared of doing something that has a...
You know what another good example of this is? Another show that was for kids that had no business being as good as it was.
Mutant Mouses from Mars?
Is the Clone Wars. Do you remember the Star Wars...
Yeah, that's true. The Clone Wars was really good.
Clone Wars series? Holy fuck, it was good. Oh my god. Like, it was like, I think back on that, and it's like, I would never miss a fucking episode of that, dude. It was insane. So, yeah, Samurai Jack. I love Samurai
Jack, yeah. Dude, especially the Samurai Jack random episodes were pretty good. But, man, what they did now... What was it, like 3 years now at this point when Samurai Jack concluded? Man, that was the absolute bomb. That was really good.
Jack. I think Clone Wars was like better in some ways, but I really like Samurai Jack too.
Clone Wars was epic. Like, Samurai Jack was
I
good.
hate this idea that like
and epic not in the sense that it was epically good, epic in the sense that Clone Wars was more epic in what they tried to achieve and what they did. Samurai Jack was a better told story in general.
Well, because it's like, it's making for kids. Like, there are plenty of kids shows that go way harder than Dragon.
Also, Samurai Jack ironically has a character that's literally marked as extra thick rave girl. Yeah, let that sink in for a moment. They have a character named extra thick rave girl.
Dragonflight, okay?
That's
it's just
good.
how it is.
Bit of edge in it that like you're being shown up. I mean, you're being shown up by one of the best animated series ever made. which
There-
People,
suppose
I
is
never watched
a
Avatar.
ridiculously high bar to set for them. But yeah,
The stupid Avatar episode where Sokka gets himself stuck in a crevice and his head is just out is still one of my all-time favorite funny things in, well, television, I don't know what they even call it, in media history. Only followed by Futurama when he first meets, when Fry first meets Dr. Zoidberg, and then his hand gets stabbed, and Zoidberg's confused, and Fry says, "Blood!" And Zoidberg's like, "Blood? Oh yes, blood!" Like it's a good thing, because he didn't know what it even was. And then Fry says, "Put it back in me." Ah, that's the best. And then there was one actually Rick and Morty moment that actually also killed me. I can't remember what it was, but Rick and Morty also had one moment that just absolutely killed me. But I can't even remember it, sadly. But the Futurama moment is always going to be the best. Futurama is, by the way, the best show of all time.
I don't know. I think they need to learn lessons. That being said, there's weird disconnects because there's a bit in this patch where just you can see in the zone just a bunch of dead night elves. And it's not just dead night elves; it's dead night elves in pools of blood.
Fuck them.
And you're like, hang on.
That's what they get.
The dead night elves in pools of blood is happening.
See, that's what we want in the game. We want more of that.
Yeah.
We want more of those.
Yeah.
Very simple concept. I don't know why Blizzard doesn't understand this.
Well, they think bodies are bad, but bodies in reality are just convey consequence. That something happened and it has consequence. Because if something happened and it doesn't have consequences, did it even happen? I don't know. Probably not, honestly.
The same place where Calicos is like, it's about coming together as family.
Yeah.
What is going on? Which to me just says that they're new blisteringly fast. Do you know what I actually acknowledge?
Somebody says Diabolify it. I'm gonna say something else that everybody's gonna agree with. The Diablo 4 story, the Diablo 2 cinematics and the story for Diablo 2, at least as best as I understand it, completely clears Diablo 4 in every single way. It's just like,
Yeah, Diablo 4 storytelling is shit. I talked about this. The only part that I didn't skip the story is Mephisto. Everything else, like Lilith getting stabbed and then turning Inarius in a pool of molten liquid, that's kinda cool. But you know, that's the only cool part in the story. Everything else is like, hey, here's a random wacky girl that has pans on her body for some reason. And they make pan rattling sounds. Now she's your best friend. Gee, thanks Blizzard. I really enjoy this character. No.
Diablo 2, there's just something about it, man. There's just, like, the Diablo 4 story, it's nice, right? It's a nice story and it's okay. But the Diablo 2 story is just like, and am I right whenever I say that I got a little bit of a Diablo 2 vibe from the teaser trailer for the new expansion of Diablo 4?
No. Well, yes, but in a bad way, honestly.
Almost reminded me of the same vibe that Diablo 2 had. Almost. Now, it's not the same, right? But it was like the same kind of thing. Now, will it be like that? I mean,
No.
you know, let's see what happens. But
Obviously,
anyway,
no,
yes. I think that the stories that they're writing, soft modern. So fucking perfect. Soft modern stories.
This is right because a bunch of
Yeah,
people
I'm
like
gonna
I did a little
steal that.
rewrite, which literally
Man's writing fanfic to
Limp
put it on the
dick.
channel.
No,
Like,
yeah.
I just
That's what they mean.
you know when you self-chat GPT. So the way that
fanfic.
those LLMs work is it's actually just all predicting the next word.
Uh-huh.
But the funny thing is, think about how you speak and think about words yourself. Bit spooky, anyway.
I try not to.
Yeah, definitely don't. But I like literally just went, blah, 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 my brain is empty. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, I guess that's done. I put so little thought into it. All these people were like, oh my God, they need to hire you. Your things. And I'm just like, no, I just did one iteration on the structure of their thing. And what that says to me is they didn't have time to do any iterations. They're just having to blast in with the first draft. And that just kind of said...
I don't believe this. No, they're just stupid, bad, and incompetent. They have plenty of time figuring out shit. Okay? They just do. They're just bad at it.
As to me, big teething problems with...
I agree with him, but at the same time, I also think that it maybe is a lack of vision. Because a big factor with this is there isn't really a core vision to it. So the...
Oh, no, this is where he's completely wrong. There is definitely a core vision. The vision's just really, really bad. And lame.
First draft is bad. I think that if you have a core vision, it's probably not going to be that big of an issue.
It's still kind
both?
of an
I think
issue.
it probably is both. You're right.
How parallelized they are and just how fast they're developing. Because like one iteration would probably fix half the problems. And you'd hope that anyone with a brain would be able to see those problems.
Just bouncing on with the blinders on, basically, for a variety of production-related reasons. Is almost always certainly the case why anything's bad. I'd say way more times than not, it's because of that. There's something just on the like children's show thing that I actually remembered. And this was someone tweeting about the first Pokemon movie.
Oh, I remember
Never
that.
seen
I
saw it.
in movie
Was
theaters.
basically one of the things that's really good about like working in children's media is that you have to really super sell your themes really hard. And obviously there's a little bit of like, oh well, where's the subtext? This isn't subtle.
Dude, I never watched really Pokemon as a kid. I kind of watched it, but it wasn't like my super favorite thing. I think Digimon was just way better. Because you think about Digimon, that shit's absolutely wild. You have slavery in that bad boy. You have murder in that bad boy. You have everything in that bad boy. And think about you have the evolutions. You know, your stupid little useless Chihuahua and evolves into, I don't know, something like a poodle, and then that poodle evolves into something like a border collie, and then it evolves into a refrigerator with guns. Digimon was lit in every way possible.
At all.
And that's most of the evolutions. A nightstand lamp evolves into a lamp, evolves into a chandelier, evolves into the fucking Death Star. Or an angel, maybe. Who knows? It was amazing.
It kind of works because you have to focus on it super hard. And if, I don't know...
Well, you don't need the story to be like 7 different shades of nuance. I don't really agree with that. I think that there are...
A story doesn't even need to have nuance. Like, having a layer of nuance or 2 layers of nuance is obviously great, but the story doesn't even actually need nuance. That's like the most ironic thing ever.
a lot of stories that are great because they are simple. Like, look at Beowulf, right? I mean, that's a pretty fucking simple one, I would say. Now, there's always going to be complexity whenever you... Like John Wick, yeah, John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick is
Lord of
super
the Rings.
simple.
Now, there's so much complexity in between the lines, right? But from a base level, everything makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't need to understand, like, Dio and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is probably one of my favorite examples for this. He's just a fucking asshole, man. And it's like, oh, yeah, maybe, like, you know, his dad... And
Well, he's a good written asshole. But World of Warcraft villains are also just assholes for the sake of being assholes. But they're badly written, so, you know. And you know what's the worst part about World of Warcraft assholes being assholes? It's the fact that they don't even do that many asshole things. Like, you imagine the jailer... The jailer tortured people, right? Yeah, you kind of don't feel that, though. You know, they actually show that the jailer had just tortured people and did stuff like that, right? But you never really feel the consequences of it. And that's kind of lame. That's lame.
his mom, and, you know, it's like his, you know, the way he was raised, and, you know, like, he never felt like he was part, but, like, he's basically just a fucking dickhead, right? He's a fucking asshole, nobody likes him, and he's a piece of shit. And so that's it. It's a very simple story.
Yep.
So if you've seen the first Pokemon movie, I'm assuming you have. I assume everyone has.
Oh, the
because
one
everyone
with,
has,
Mew.
Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the way that, like, instills values in people by very clearly, like, obviously, I don't remember the words because I'm very bad at remembering specific words, but the, like, Mewtwo's speech at the end about the circumstance of your birth
Oh, yeah.
is straight up just like,
I
oh,
see
yeah.
now.
Yeah, this is actually a super profound and touching tale about
People love that.
you not being, you know, who you are at birth, and, like, the power of choice, the power of self-sacrifice, the power of choosing your own values as an individual. And that's really good. And it's a kids movie in every conceivable way. So I just kind of thought to follow up on that. It's like, yeah, being adult or mature doesn't mean that you, like, are necessarily better at doing themes like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And this is the thing, is like,
Also, Pokemon is made by Japanese, by the way. You know, and even now, Japan has very, very radically different values than the West. And at that time, Japan, guess what? They had even more different values than the West. You know, hey, Japan's kind of okay with a couple of kids committing suicides at school because they're getting bullied, as long as the rest of society, you know, gets with the program. America's not. Okay, that's the difference.
you have these people, soft modern people on Twitter, that are all about, oh, well, this is a mature theme about PTSD and about all of these, like, you know, the having to deal with, like, a family and everything. Like, what the fuck are you, what is...
Dude, you know what's the worst part, by the way? That actually makes me think. The worst part about that is, I guess it's true for some people, because some people had never... Dude, for example, everything... I guess it's true to a degree. Oh, this is PTSD, because those people have never learned to deal with those things. Those people know that PTSD equals bad, and, you know, other types of situation equals bad, but they had never have to deal with them or learn to deal with them. Us, who have dealt with traumatic situations, who had to actually, you know, deal with our own shit and do things, like, these stories don't ring a bell, because these stories seem easy. Like, oh, wait, that's it? Your brother betrayed you? Oh no! Oh no! How horrible! Oh no! And for some people, that's like, oh, tragedy. But for people who have dealt with stuff, or hard situations or whatever, this just doesn't ring a bell. It just doesn't.
Is this? Like,
It's
shut
weak.
the fuck up. This is soy shit. Just stop
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Oh no, my dad said to send me to my room because I did something. Oh, the tragedy. No. Sad.
means there's probably people with different tastes and a different approach to it. Like, even like the we went to the movies to see that and got a Mew card. Me too. I remember that very well. I guess we'll just have a slight Pokemon segment, because the movie after that, 2000, was a lot more traditional fantasy.
I didn't watch. I
Hero's
only watched
Journey
the
stuff,
first one.
getting the 3 magical items,
Yeah, I never
and then
saw
having
it.
the twist at the end, and being against like the villain. I was very.
Never even heard about
it's just
Get the sigils, complete the story.
exactly.
Light up the oath stones, finish the story.
Yeah, and there's the prophecy
Yeah.
at the beginning with the flute player and all that stuff. And that stuff is basically like, yeah, I see now that the circumstances of one's birth is relevant. It is what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. Insert the quill on fire gif. Absolutely. 'Cause that's more or less, that's all that is.
I don't even
Yeah.
know what that
Bit
gift
of a
is.
sidebar, but I think it's like,
I just, like...
you can be
What was it?
childish and still tell a really engaging story.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. Like, I'm so sick of them saying it's an adult story, so it's okay for the characters to be pussies, boring, and for it to be lame.
True.
I don't want this story. Oh, this story reminds me of working at...
Dude, Aang's story is way more in-depth and adultish than any adult character in World of Warcraft. Sad.
My accounting
Sad.
firm. No, that's the problem. That's the whole problem. See, that you've just explained it. I don't care if it's an adult story or not. I don't want to see it.
Yeah. Nino of The Last Unicorn said, if you want to go back to Fast and Furious example, those movies show them being family. WoW just tells you and never earns it. And yeah, show don't tell is like their number one problem. Whenever they do manage to show...
Yeah, when they show something, it's stupid. Again, Vol'jin and Varian, that's meaningless, pointless, useless.
It can be really good, right? And that's like the big moments that we all remember. I think, again, it's just the unevenness where, yeah... a lot of the scaffolding that holds the whole thing up.
I just think that they need to stop making the story for pussies, man.
Pretty
Everybody
much.
knows it. Like, we can all talk around, like, all of these, like, narrative devices, but everybody knows they're just making the story for pussies. And I'm fucking tired of it. I'm tired of this shit. Yeah, like, it tries back to that, yeah, they're trying to be family-friendly, something like that, yeah.
You know, half of it's kind of missing. So it means, like, the plot is there, and it could be a good plot, but it's just kind of rickety. The Exorcist, super, thank you. I still remember the Defia storyline in vanilla almost 2 decades later. Dragonflight was just forgettable and generic.
The reason why is because it was a complex story.
I don't.
And the problem is that,
though.
and this is a big issue that I have. Remember whenever they got rid of, I told you guys about mining canary problems in video games, that they're not a problem in themselves, but they are an indicator of a larger problem to come. And
No,
whenever they
don't.
took enslaved demon and they turned it into subjugate demon,
Huh?
because like slavery is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at this on like a much more macro level.
Oh boy.
They probably don't want to tell stories like the Defias Brotherhood again, because basically what happened, this is what happened. Van Cleef and the boys got fucked over, and then Storm...
Yeah, he knows. Okay. So, yeah. The Defias are actually victims, by the way. The Defias are the good guys in the story, in actuality. You're killing the good guys when you go and murder Edward Van Cleef. They got screwed over for no reason.
is like, that's too bad. And they said, oh, well, you know what? Fuck you. We're gonna go over here to Westfall. We're gonna do our own fucking thing. And we don't want to have anything to do with you. We're gonna unionize. And they say, oh, you're gonna unionize? Well, we're gonna send in the Pinkertons. And you know who the Pinkertons are? Your 5-man group in Deadmines. And you kill Van Cleef in his own fucking house. And you squash that union character by character, linen cloth loot by linen cloth loot. You kill every single one of them. You come back with their bloody bandanas and you say, thank God the union is destroyed, the kingdom is saved. And you know what?
I mean, it's funny, but I'm not sure. Wait, does he remember the story correctly? The story is not that deep. It's just the Defias Brotherhood is a bunch of dudes who were Masons, and they got tasked with rebuilding Stormwind after it got yeeted and deleted by Big Green Boys. I think it was Big Green Boys, and then they did do it, and they were supposed to be paid. And then the current king of Stormwind was like, well, lol, didn't read, didn't sign, YOLO, 420 blaze it, and he just said, we're not gonna pay you, lol. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. And then the Defias Brotherhood swore revenge. That's pretty much it. And that big ship is what they were supposed to use to destroy Stormwind, by the way.
Blizzard doesn't want to tell a story like that anymore, because they're afraid that it could be like real life. And that's what's fucking pathetic. We can't even have fantasy anymore because these people want their fantasy stories to be congruent with the morality of the 21st century. How pathetic.
I guess I
And that's what I was saying about it being a mining canary problem. Soft modern. It's pathetic, bro.
There's a risk of that. So going into Dragonflight, there are bits that are definitely not like.
Maybe Van Cleef should have talked about family. He did, and then we came back in Cataclysm and killed his fucking daughter.
True.
Now they retconned that. She thought she was gonna come back, and we fucking kill her too.
Huh? They retconned that.
In my view, that aren't forgettable and generic.
Just the way it is.
Orc Heritage. Orc Heritage is one of the best quests that team has shipped. Many would say the same for the Blue Flight. Many would say the same for like the Forsaken Heritage quest as well. There's like actually plenty of good bits, and as much as I think 10-1 meandered a bit, like Emberthal was handled, you know, like pretty well. Loads of the side quests are really, really good. I think it's just the reason why it probably comes off as that is that its A plot wasn't always clear, and it was just a bit messy.
Anyway, I'm done. This was Quizzer Sid saying thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye bye.